The tension that occurs between a biological parent and a step parent, it's all rooted to some sort of lingering emotion that's going on. When there was a separation, whatever caused that separation, and there's no healing and no closure behind that, there's going to be tension. So now when a new person comes in the picture, the step parent, they receive that tension. If there was closure, then relationships and blended families would be a lot easier. Like, think about it. When you're in a relationship, right, and you have children, there are moments where you may disagree on something that has to do with the child, but very little times does it become an act of revenge within the family, and very little time does it become, I'm going to bad talk your mom or dad because I don't agree with what they want to do. What usually happens is the adults will speak about it. They'll come to some sort of agreement of how they should move about whatever it is that they're having a disagreement on based on the child, right? It's never looked at when you're inside of the family and the home. It's not like a competition. It just is what it is, and maybe I don't like that dad told you can do this, I don't agree with it. But it's never a competition where you're going to try to figure out how you can get revenge. That's not how it goes, right? Sometimes you disagree, sometimes you agree, like whatever the case is. But it never becomes as serious as it does when the family separates. It's smooth sailing when you're in a family in one home. You make it work. You figure out what can make it work, even if it means you got to sit down and talk and really, get down to, I don't parent this way and I want to parent this way. But at the end of it, it's still based on being able to come to some sort of agreement, because you have the understanding that what matters is raising that child. What matters is trying to keep attention to a minimum. You try to keep tension to a minimum when you live with someone. Now you bring in an adult, right, who is going to play this role of a step parent. So now what do you get? Let's say it's the father bringing in a woman he wants to marry, right? So now take the emotional mother who's already dealing with whatever emotions she's dealing with, and she's being introduced to another female who is going to help raise her child. So there's already this illusion that this new woman is going to take over. For whatever reason, this is the ideology that biological parents automatically think, like, this new person is going to take over. This new person is going to take my place. For whatever reason, right? This is what is thought to be what is going to occur. They're going to replace you. So now mix that with the lingering emotions, the lack of closure, right? That's why it becomes such a negative experience. That's why there's so much tension going on. That's why there's so much of an issue with basically everything. There's so much negativity lingering around. There's so much tension just lingering. How do you make it so that there isn't that much tension? How do you make it so that there isn't so much drama going on? Well, if you are a step parent, right? If you are a step parent, or you're going to become a step parent, I suggest that you, first of all, if you are willing to care for a child that is not yours, and you are, because you want to and your heart feels like it wants to, I think that is such a beautiful thing. It's a role that is overlooked and underappreciated. And I appreciate knowing that there are adults that take care of a child, that care for another child, that just put their all into it because they want to. Not because they're looking for anything in return, because we get nothing in return. Understand that it's not personal. So the tension going on and the drama that is involved, it's not you. Like, don't take it personal. This is something that the two adults never dealt with, or most of the time it's just the one adult holding on to a lot of emotion that they have not dealt with and have not let go. So don't take it personal. All the drama that goes on, it's because of the emotions that are felt. So if we can understand that, it makes accepting and dealing with certain things a little easier. Because I have the understanding that a person is holding on to an emotion, a person is feeling hurt, like, I'm not going to take everything you say personal. You're hurt. You're dealing with pain. And on top of that, put yourself in their shoes. They have an adult who is possibly spending more time with their child, who is helping to raise their child. They didn't expect that. When they first started their family, they didn't expect for their child to be partially raised by somebody else, a stranger that they do not know. So if you can understand that and put yourself in their shoes, you're better able to empathize and not take things so personal. You'll look at it like, when a child makes a mistake or a child does something that, they don't really know any better. That's how you'll look at it. You won't take it personal. Be understanding and don't take sides. So just because you're with the father, don't just take his backstory and just automatically take his side and everything he does is right and everything the mom does is wrong. Don't do that. Like, don't take sides. Just stay neutral and try to keep in your mind that it doesn't really have anything to do with you personally. And if you are in this and you genuinely care and you genuinely want to be the stepmom or the stepfather, like, just be that. Be that to your best capability and as much as you're able to and allowed to. Just be that. Try to stay as neutral as you can. If you can remove yourself from their bickering, then do that. And you stay neutral, you stay level-headed, you stay clear-minded, and you stay open, because now, even when they can't communicate, you're able to try to figure something out. You can't replace. You can't. You can fill a role, you can do for the child, but you can't replace. And a lot of step-parents, like, they know that. They're not there to try to replace anything. They're aware that they are not the actual parent. They are playing a role, and sometimes they play the role more than the actual parent. That, yes, facts. Let's say that you are a father and your ex brought along another man who's going to help raise your child. There is no need for you to make that man's life difficult. Like, you have to be realistic. Parents have to be realistic and understand that shit can go really bad, especially if your child is living in the other parent's household. So say, for example, if you're the father and your ex has custody of your child, right? And the child lives with the mom. She marries a guy. You have to understand, you don't know everything that goes on in that house. It would be in your best interest not to be on that person's bad side, because you don't know what they can do behind closed doors. Like, low-key, mentally abusing someone and physically abusing someone, sometimes it takes a long time to realize that that's what's going on. So just off the strength of that, I would try not to be on that person's bad side. But also because this new man has nothing to do with the crap that you and your ex dealt with. Like, it's not his fault. Like, why would you not be appreciative of this man that's willing to help raise your child? Get out of your mind that they are trying to replace you, because they're not. A lot of step parents are just there as an addition. They're not out here like plotting, I'm gonna take over and you're gonna know your father no longer. You're gonna know your mother no longer. Like, get that out your mind. That is not the reality of it. Just because you choose to care, just because you choose to play a certain role, it does not mean that you are trying to replace and take over. It would be better if you have a bond with this man who's going to be around your child for that reason, because they're going to be around your child. They're involved with your child's life. So it's almost like keep your enemies close. But don't look at it as an enemy, because this person is doing something beautiful. Like, this person is there. This person is present when you're not. Like, how can we not look at that as a beautiful thing? I think that there's like automatically this competition that runs through people's mind. Like, everything is a competition. If we let go of the ideology that things are a competition, then we can better accept that it's an asset. It's just a benefit. It's an added benefit. It's a bonus. Stop looking at all the negative aspects. Like, okay, your relationship did not work, right? So now your family is split up. It is what it is. So make the most of it while you can, because just because you guys were not able to make your relationship work and you have to raise your child in 2 different homes, why the hell does that mean that you guys still can't have some sort of relationship? Why does it mean that you still can't spend time with your child and your child's mother? Why does it mean that you have to wait for a judge who has no idea of all of the facts to decide when you get to see your child, or when the other parent gets to see their child and spend time and spend vacation with their child? Like, this is your child, right? So as adults, if you just come to the agreement and understanding and accept the situation, it just is what it is, you can still raise that child fine. Like, you should still both be able to raise a child together, even though you're in 2 different homes. We have to stop thinking that it's such a competition, like the step parent is here to take over, the step parent is trying to replace me. No, they can't replace you. Like, this is not their DNA that went into this child. Like, we all know that. Okay, granted. But just because they choose to fill in a gap, because they choose to care, because they choose to help, like, that's not a bad thing. Stop looking at it like it's such a bad thing. It is not a horrible thing. It's a beautiful thing. Like, I have an old spirit. I truly feel like, you know, when they say it takes a village to help raise a child, that's just how I'm looking at it. Like, somebody else helping raise the child. And I'll be damned if I become an enemy of somebody who is going to spend a lot of time with my child and has an input in how my child is raised. I'm not going to become their enemy. Like, I'm going to embrace you. Because first of all, you don't have to care. Second of all, I don't know what you could do behind my back to my child just to get back at me for being rude to you or treating you a certain way. And third of all, like, it's not an impossible situation. Like, it's a situation that it can be dealt with. Like, it's something that it's okay if somebody else is sitting here helping raise your child, if somebody else is involved, another adult is involved with your child. Like, do you get mad at your teacher because they spend majority of the day with your child, teaching your child, and you don't even know everything that they're being taught in school? You don't get mad at the teacher. You don't treat her like shit. That's the same thing with the step parent. They're spending a lot of time with your child. They're helping raise your child. Why be mad at them? It's not their fault. Your relationship with the mom or the dad did not work out. It's not their fault. So it's like it just doesn't make sense. Because once again, if you're in the same house, mom and dad are in the house, and there's a disagreement with how the child is being raised, it gets dealt with. Dear biological parent, you need closure. You need to deal with your emotions. You need to accept the situation for what it is and understand there is a child left from the relationship that did not work, and you are able to still raise your child and still be a mother or a father to that child. Just because you are doing it with a step parent does not mean that they're here trying to replace you. They know they cannot replace you. You cannot be replaced. The DNA in the child is yours. Understand that the most important thing is raising your child. That's all that should matter.